mostly among the unvaccinated. 99% of those getting COVID and even dying from it are unvaccinated. They have a surge in hospitals. We have hospital workers that are overwhelmed again. And I had to write this down and read it because I can't believe it. The governor is banning mask mandates in schools. And I'm hearing reports about kids as young as 2 weeks old getting coronavirus and getting severely ill. Is this malpractice? What is going on in Florida?
Good morning, Mika. It's frankly moronic that something like this would even be considered. There should be mask mandates in schools and that are implemented at the school district level, that are enforced, and this should not be a parent level decision. What Ron DeSantis is doing makes no sense whatsoever. That absolutely must be the case, because we do need children back in schools and physical schools, and we can make it safe, relatively speaking, until they get vaccinated, Mika. But that's vital that school districts are able to mandate that and enforce it. That should not be a parent-level decision, absolutely. And what I'll broadly say, this should be an example of what is allowed across the country, Mika. Schools can be safe, but they need the ability to mandate. They need capital infrastructure and improvements to their HVAC systems, MERS 13 filters in the vents. These things cost almost $30,000 per classroom. So that's going to obviously require a certain level of resources and commitment from state and local government. But we need that across the country, and especially in places where there are surges on hospitals, low vaccine rates, just as you pointed out.
So I just know, a number of people in Florida, educated, like-minded, good friends, who absolutely will not get that vaccine. What is it that you can say that can help bring people kind of over to the other side, if I may? They don't believe the stories they're reading about the vaccine. They're not sure it's safe. Some are pregnant. They're worried about their babies. And they are not going to get it. What are your concerns about the state of Florida specifically? And how do we educate people who are very well educated and are getting information that is counter to what you are saying?
Well, Mika, there's only so much I can do mass communication. What I found is most effective is for people, if we can do this, to have direct engagement one-on-one in person, where I would touch on, and this is what I've done when I've had the opportunity. I storytell, Mika. I use visuals and graphics. I show CT scans of my patients, what happens to a 20-year-old and their lungs when they have COVID-19, they go unvaccinated and take the risk with the Delta variant. I often hear, especially from younger people, I'd rather take the risk with the virus than with the vaccine. So threat perception, vital to really double down on, but not just through citing statistics or finger wagging, storytelling, having authentic messengers, showing pictures, leaning into what we've done previously successfully when it comes to changing minds in public health. We need to make it vivid. That's number one. Number two, directly talking about these issues like fertility and whether the vaccine is safe, was going to impact your ability to conceive or to come to term. We can actually cite real evidence. I hear a lot about long-term impacts. We can cite real evidence about how they are non-existent, especially when it comes to Pfizer and Moderna. So I would lean into those three topics. To your point, where are we headed in Florida? Across the country, places like Florida, we suspect are going to be accounting for at least 50% of potentially day-over-day deaths in October of about 1,000. So we're headed back potentially to a place where we're seeing 1,000 deaths a day, day over day, and places like Florida and much of the Southeast will account for the majority of that. So we really need to double down on a different communication strategy, one that minimizes mass communication and maximizes that type of authentic, direct to patient, direct to the individual engagement. And actually, lastly, Mika, if I may.
Next question. Yeah, please.
No, please.
Go ahead.
I just think it's really important to be clear to the American people about what success looks like, Mika, and that is we're not going to eradicate COVID-19. And this is where that phraseology is going to have to be important. I don't like the phrase we have to learn to live with it, but some riff on that is actually going to be true now in the era of vaccines where COVID will be endemic. Low hospitalization rates, high vaccine uptake rates, that's what we're shooting for. We're not shooting for eradication. That's not going to be achievable.